As always, where I get to talk about everything that I normally don't get to talk about on my regular sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, which you can all find on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasting apps or platforms from. So going to have a great podcast for you guys today. Also, thank you to everybody who's tuning in, whether it be via YouTube, live stream on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitter/Periscope. I definitely appreciate that. Like, comment, and subscribe on all platforms. So we got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. The Brady effect, more Houston Texans drama, the Las Vegas Raiders, they potentially might be making some big moves, NBA values, and NBA national anthem controversy. So a lot to delve into. So first, let's start with this. So Adrian Peterson, former Minnesota Viking, just recently played with the Detroit Lions. He kind of said he'd want to play with Tampa because he'd want to play at Tampa because of Tom Brady. And I think what's really interesting, Tom Brady's entering the space of his career where he's kind of like a LeBron. You see how LeBron goes to all these different places and like LeBron is the system. I think that's what Tom Brady's starting to become. And not only that, you're seeing veterans, guys late in their career, guys that have already made money in the league. They're saying, hey, I want to play with that guy. I see how he handles himself. I see how he does things. You kind of see that when you see the Ray Allens go to Miami, the Mike Millers, the Rashad Lewises in Cleveland, the Channing Frys, the Richard Jeffersons, even in LA right now, the Marc Gasols, like they all want to play with LeBron. Win a ring with the king. I think that's what Tom Brady's starting to become right now. And I think guys like Antonio Brown are going to take less money. Guys like potentially they have some other free agents. Davis, the other end. Their other defensive end. I think he could possibly take a pay cut. Also, Chris Godwin, I believe, is a free agent as well. So I think that's kind of the magic of Tom Brady. You just want to play for the guy. So with the Las Vegas Raiders, Jason La Canfora, who's a guy I respect heavily in the NFL in terms of reporting information. He's one of the better guys to listen to. He recently wrote an article on CBS Sports. And what his article was, Russell Wilson, because there's all this trade talk about Russell Wilson to the Las Vegas Raiders. And he made some interesting points. He talked about lifestyle. Russell Wilson's wife is Sierra. Right, Sierra would probably have no issues with Las Vegas. But also, if you look at the coaching, John Gruden, he's a maverick. He likes to do different things. John Gruden likes to go against the grain. That's what Chucky does. Also, we know that John Gruden, he's not the biggest fan of Derek Carr. And market. I think market, too, plays a big role. Russell Wilson, one of the elite quarterbacks in this league, maybe wants to play in a market where he gets talked about more, just more branding opportunities, stuff like that. And it seems like Russell Wilson has been more into that as his career has advanced and he's gotten older. And also a fresh start. I think sometimes that's what people need. We saw with Tom Brady. He got a fresh start and look what he did. You've seen guys like Matthew Stafford. Sometimes things run its course. So I think it's going to be very interesting. So if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, strike while the iron's hot. Give Seattle 4 first rounders. That's what you got to do, right? We saw them trade all these assets, get all these assets for Khalil Mack. Do the opposite. Go all in, plunge all in for a quarterback. If John Gruden, they want to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs in the the AFC West, get a Russell Wilson. So instead of compete against the best quarterback in the NFL, you get the third best quarterback in the NFL, right? Gun for gun. So also what they're looking at doing is they're potentially looking at getting Juju Smith-Schuster, Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. I think this would also be interesting. I think because of the tight end, whose name is escaping me at the moment, is their number one option. I think this would better fit Juju. Juju was kind of the number one option in Pittsburgh. I don't think he was able to ever live up into that reputation. Reputation only had one 1,000-yard season. Also, never had a season where he had double-digit touchdowns, which is kind of disappointing for a guy that you would expect to be a number one option, right? So I think if you did go to Las Vegas, I think that'd be a nice fresh start for Juju. Houston Texans, Jamie Roots, the Houston Texans president, has just announced that they are resigning. I think this is more bad juju, bad drama for the Houston Texans. No wonder Deshaun Watson wants to leave. They hire firms. They don't trust their firms. They hire different dudes that aren't part of their firms. Then they tell the guy, hey, Deshaun, we want you involved. We want you involved in our decision-making. We want you involved with who's going to be the next GM, head coach, and all that. And then they hire somebody else, and they don't consult him at all. And now you have the president retiring as well. Resigning. So not good news for the Houston Texans. Also, David Culley doesn't inspire confidence. The Houston Texans, it is a house on fire, and it is burning all the way down to the ground, folks. So to the NBA. So a list came out by Forbes, and I always love these lists because I think it's really interesting to see what is the most valuable team. You have the Knicks at 1. I think what's really interesting about this, for the 6th straight year, the New York Knicks have been the most valuable NBA franchise at $5 billion, estimated at $5 billion, which is crazy. The Knicks have been so bad. There's been so much drama. Everybody hates on Dolan. Everybody criticizes, people criticize when they had all this mess going on with Phil Jackson. Charles Oakley, when he got kicked out of the Garden unceremoniously, right? The Knicks have just been known for being inept, not being very good, being an abomination. And the fact is, they're still in New York City, as bad as they are, as bad as marketing and PR is, they're still worth $5 billion. Don't underestimate the Big Apple, folks. Second is the Golden State Warriors at $4.7 billion. Third is the Los Angeles Lakers at $4.6 billion. And then there's a little bit of a drop. At fourth, you have the Chicago Bulls at $3.3 million. And at fifth, you have the Boston Celtics at $3.2 million. So the richest NBA franchises, the NBA franchises that are worth the most, you have the Celtics, you have the Bulls, you have the Lakers, you have the Warriors, and you have the Knicks. Big market, big market, big market. Branding opportunities, nice weather, right? Boston, Chicago, LA, the Bay, and New York. Two of the 5 biggest meccas like in the country. Like, am I missing anything else? Any other bigger markets? If there's any other bigger markets, somebody please comment below. And lastly, Mark Cuban kind of started this whole little firestorm when the Dallas Mavericks did not play the national anthem before their game. And then the NBA has come out with a memo now today saying that every team has to play the national anthem. I think this is a bad move by Mark Cuban. I don't want to really litigate the whole kneeling, not playing the national anthem, all that. But I will say this. I do think this gets into dangerous territory because at the end of the day, it's a show, right? It's sex appeal. You're supposed to get people entertained. I do not think not playing the national anthem does that. I think maybe if you have players that don't want the national anthem played, I think you're going to have to talk to the players and kind of let them know, because I think for the in-arena experience, because there's stuff that these organizations do when they honor veterans, and there's just a lot of other stuff where I don't think that is the way to go about it. I think that is a bad move. I think what makes the NFL so popular is it's like patriotism. It's like our sport, right, in America. It's like soccer is the other football, and that's why people like football so much. So I don't think this is a good move. I don't think this is a good move by Mark Cuban. And there's a reason why Adam Silver in the league office came out as soon as Mark Cuban did this, and they said all the teams have to play the national anthem, because Adam Silver, at the end of the day, he's a businessman, he's a commissioner, and he knows what it is. And that is all we have for this edition of Outside the Shop. Check out my YouTube channel, subscribe to it, Daryl Lane. I post videos and clips for my sports podcast, Barbershop Sports Talk, on there. Also, if you want to check out Barbershop Sports Talk, it's on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, the whole deal there. Have a great day, everybody, and God bless.